right, it's time for the final section of our axial skeleton. Time to talk abs. All right, so the muscles of the abdominal wall are complex, but not that difficult, okay? They are named for the direction that the fibers travel, okay? So these are going to work together to flex the vertebral column, so to bend your body forward. We spend way too much time with these muscles partly contracted when we're slumped at our desks, okay? You need to practice and work on extending that spine, sitting up straight so that you balance out the muscles, okay? When you contract one side, you help to laterally flex the spine. They're also going to help to rotate the spine. All right, so these diagrams that I'm going to use for these abdominal muscles, they're trying to show all those layers, and so they are complicated. So just pay attention to these edges, which is where they have cut away one muscle so that we can see the layer underneath, okay? So we've got an external layer. Notice these fibers go at an angle. So this is an external oblique. These fibers go straight up and down. This is the rectus abdominis. Now, they've cut away the aponeurosis here so that we can see the rectus abdominis. But these two sides of the external obliques, they're the most superficial ones, okay? The aponeurosis goes all the way across in front of the rectus abdominis. If you're like me, you store a bunch of fat here so that, you like protect all of this and you don't have that like annoying six-pack visible for other people to see. Now, there's another layer deep to the external oblique. Look, this layer is also going at an oblique angle. Internal obliques, okay? External oblique, superficial, internal, deep. And then the deepest layer here, the fibers are going horizontally, so these are the transversus abdominis, or transverse abdominal muscles. All right, so let's meet them each. External obliques are they're the most external of the abdominal muscles. It's two pieces of muscle, two bellies of muscle, one on either side, that extend from the ribs to this aponeurosis that connects the two sides and goes across the middle, okay? They end at the inguinal ligament, which is this band here, okay? Notice that they kind of wrap around the side and have a big attachment to the iliac crest. Okay, so they do go all the way around to the side. And then at the top here, they interweave with another muscle, the serratus anterior, that we're going to meet later. We haven't met yet. Okay? So that's the serratus anterior there that interweaves with the external obliques. The external obliques also go all the way up under the pectoralis major, almost all the way to the sternum. Okay, and in fact, the aponeurosis does go all the way to the sternum. So it's a really big, very superficial muscle. And then ends at the inguinal ligament. Okay. Now, the rectus abdominis is the next layer. And it goes vertically down the center of the abdomen, and it sits deep to the aponeurosis of the external obliques. It does have 4 sections that are separated by these lines of tendon that are called tendinous intersections. And then there's a line down the middle, a tendon that goes down the middle. It's kind of a reduced aponeurosis, and it's called the linea alba. It just means the white line. Okay, so the linea alba and the tendinous intersections make the 6-pack, okay, which if you're thinking, but there's actually 8, yeah, on some people you can actually see 8, on most people you can't, either because it's covered up by the pectoralis or something else, but usually we can only see 6 of these sections. Okay, so the rectus abdominis is enclosed in bands of aponeurosis that together are called the rectus sheath, okay? Rectus meaning straight, sheath meaning like an envelope, okay? So all of these other layers of abdominal muscles have bellies on either side connected by an aponeurosis. The aponeurosis of the external obliques goes in front or superficial to the rectus abdominis. The other two layers go posterior to the rectus abdominis. And so those aponeuroses together create this pocket called the rectus sheath, and the rectus abdominis goes down within that pocket. All right, the internal obliques. Notice these are much smaller than the external obliques. They go at a 90-degree angle. And they also connect the ribs to the iliac crest. Okay, they end at the iliac crest, and the aponeurosis ends at the inguinal ligament. These are really good for rotating the vertebral column. Okay, so they're less important for flexing, more important for rotating. This is why you have to do not just the crunches when you're working out, but also those horrible twisty bicycle things, right? Because you need to work all 4 layers of your abdominal muscles, and the twisting works these internal obliques. Okay, and then the deepest layer are the transversus abdominis, and the fibers do run laterally. Okay, and again, 2 bellies connected by an aponeurosis. This one is a little bigger than the internal obliques, does go all the way up almost to the sternum, and its aponeurosis makes the deepest layer of the rectus sheath. Okay, so here we have our torso models again. This is actually part of the, let's see if we can figure it out. The fibers are going up toward the middle. So this is part of the internal obliques right there. Cool, right? This side is deep, this side is superficial. So these are the internal obliques. These are the external obliques. On this side, they have left the aponeurosis so that we can see it covering the rectus abdominis. On this side, they've removed the aponeurosis of the external obliques so that we can see all 4 parts of the rectus abdominis, including the tendinous intersections and the linea alba, okay, that extends right there all the way up to the xiphoid process. So we've got external oblique, rectus abdominis, internal oblique, and then deep to that, we have to turn this over to see we have the transversus abdominis here, okay, with its aponeurosis that helps to creates the back, the deepest part of the rectus sheath. Now notice that the rectus abdominis actually pokes through the rectus sheath at the bottom, okay, so it does travel deep to it at the bottom. Complicated, why so complex? I don't know. All right, so the orientation of the fibers here on the inside. We have the transversus abdominis going horizontally. Okay, we have the rectus abdominis here. The diaphragm intersecting with the transversus abdominis. So remember, pay attention to which direction the fibers are going when you're trying to figure out which muscle you're looking at. So these vertical fibers are diaphragm. And then these things deep to the transversus abdominis, these are part of the transversus thoracis. Okay? That's all of your abdominal muscles, and we are done with that. And next we will move on to the axial, or the appendicular skeleton.